Hello and welcome to Hollywood Blockbusters. I'm your host, Joe Hollywood. And once again, I'm joined by Imaginos Pete,
Hey, hey.
Andrew Walker,
Hey.
and joining us in the room again is George Johnson.
Pleasure to be here.
George.
Yeah. So the year is winding down. And so usually this time of the year, we get together and maybe look back on the year, the good, the bad, the ugly, and maybe look ahead to 2026. But before we get into that, a tragedy occurred a few days ago where Rob Reiner, who we all grew up with on television and transitioned into directing some of my favorite movies, was the victim, him and his wife, of a tragedy. I don't want to go into too much detail about what happened. I just want to really kind of honor the guy and talk about the impact that his career as a director had on movie lovers. The number one movie that comes to mind for me personally is The Princess Bride. That's probably in my top 20.
100%.
Yeah.
So brilliantly made.
Yeah, it's just a sweet, funny movie that you can show to your children, and it's just a classic fairy tale, and incredibly cast with some fantastic actors, and almost immediately upon seeing it, it became one of my all-time favorite movies that you can watch repeatedly over and over and over again, and it was just fantastic, just great. What impact did Princess Bride have on you guys? Imaginos Pete?
No, it's one of the first comedies I ever saw, and I enjoyed it. I love the banter of it. I love the characters. They're all memorable. It's the idea of having your grandfather reading you a story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's so many quotable lines. There's so much of the jokes are in the cultural lexicon that a lot of people, younger people, don't know about. When you just say it, my name is Inigo Montoya. Like, where's that from? Oh, and you sometimes see the reactions like, oh, that's where this is from. Like, yeah, the six-fingered man.
Oh yeah. Inconceivable.
And yeah, when people say inconceivable, like, okay, and what's your point? Like, never mind.
I see merchandise like on Etsy and stuff where there was a jar with a picture of Andre the Giant on it, and it was like, "Anybody want the peanut?" Stuff like that. Like, it's just an infinitely quotable movie and one of my all-time favorites. Let's kind of go around the room. Imagine those people. What would, not counting Princess Bride, what would be next on your list as far as
Could I?
favorite Rob? Oh yeah, do you want to chime in
Yeah,
on?
I did want to chime
Yeah,
in
yeah,
on
yeah.
that. Yeah, so I think with The Princess Bride, it's almost like 3 or 4 or 5 things all hit. Like, it's like the stars and the moon and the sun coming into alignment.
Yeah.
You've got a brilliant a director. He finds a somewhat unknown Robin Wright.
Yeah, yep. She was
She's
Buttercup.
super cute, but she was in some soap opera stuff, and then Wesley, what's his name?
Carrie Elwes.
Carrie
Elwes.
Elwes, yeah,
The
Carrie Elwes
Pirate
is unknown.
Roberts, yep.
Mandy Patinkin, Andre the
Yeah.
Giant, who's now. I can't imagine anybody else in those roles.
Right.
He goes out for Danny DeVito, and he gets instead turned down, and then he gets
Wallace
Wallace
Shawn.
Wallace
Yeah, yeah.
Shawn. I can't imagine anybody better in those roles. And then some of the other characters, Billy Crystal later
Yeah.
on.
Oh yeah.
If you listen to there's an Audible book if you get a chance, which is the behind the scenes. It was so highly rated. I'm like, all right. And we were in a car driving across. I don't remember, some godforsaken Nebraska place, and and I say that with love. My daughter lived there for years, but we put that on, and everybody was waiting for every next thing that they were saying.
Oh yeah.
Andre the Giant, fantastic. Like, for example, Wallace Shawn, the entire movie felt like he was never going to be as good as the first choice. He found out it was supposed to be Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
And Rob Reiner was so good to all the cast, such a sweet guy. He just said, no, I didn't hide. He said, just be yourself. Just do your thing. I can't imagine if somebody said, hey, we're going to swap Danny DeVito, I'd say, you'd ruin it.
Yeah.
Carrie Elwes broke his foot. Andre the Giant was out cruising around on an ATV, and he goes, hey, you want to try this or something? And Carrie Elwes jumped on it and immediately broke his foot. And he was in a lot of pain, and he did not want to tell Rob Reiner. And Rob Reiner said, hey, what's going on? And he thought, I'm going to get canned. I'm going to get yelled at. He said, none of those things happened. He said, no. He says, it's fine. He says, this is the way things happen. He says, and he just says, it was just really loving and just sweet. And just this wonderful attitude that came from Rob Reiner that everybody enjoyed. It was they say it was just a very sweet, very well done. People loved to work with him.
That's what you're saying in all the tributes on social media.
Yeah.
You know, from your Billy Crystals and all the people that have worked with them. It's just nothing but praise and what a loving couple they were, and everybody loved them. And it, I don't know, it's just really impacted me over the past few days. It's the last thing I think about when I go to bed. It's the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning, and I'm not sure why it's impacted me the way it has. But like I said, it's movies talk about having an impact. Movies are part of pop culture and infinitely quotable.
One of the things that you keep hearing about is that no matter who you are, if you're an A-lister or not, if he just saw you, if you saw him outside of the production, he'd engage you in a conversation as if he'd known you for years.
That checks. Yeah.
And picking up a conversation that you had a long time ago. Hey, so how'd you do? What'd you think about that cake that we bought that you had at the? And you,
Yeah.
was Rob Reiner talking to me about a cake or something? Like,
Yeah,
what
I've
is this?
seen videos where he's leaving a hotel or a restaurant or something. There's a crowd gathered. They're like, "Hey, Rob," and he comes over and like, "Yeah, what's up?" You know, it's like the dog that catches the car. Like, oh, I wasn't expecting him to come up and have a conversation. Like, oh, all right. And so yeah, he would approach you and go, "Yeah, what's going on?" You
They
know,
said
so that was really cool.
Some of the best conversations he had were with Archie Bunker, who they loved. They loved the fact that
Was
the
that
characters.
Carol?
Yeah,
Carol
Carol
O'Connor.
O'Connor.
Carol
yeah,
O'Connor.
yeah.
Yeah, go on.
because Carol O'Connor enjoyed when the characters started pushing back, when Meathead started pushing back. That was part of the big thing in the series because obviously Carol O'Connor didn't believe everything that Archie said, but
Yeah.
he did his job as an actor, and so I remember Reiner giving interviews talking about that. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is the kind of stuff that you're gonna miss.
There's a great clip going around. If you could find it, look it up, where Rob and Carol O'Connor are having a scene on All in the Family. And I don't know if Rob was trying to think of his next line, but there's sort of a pause where he sort of looked down for a moment. I think he was trying to recall his next line. And Carol O'Connor, as Archie Bunker, goes, "What, is my fly open?" And you see Rob like turn his head because he didn't want people to see him smiling, and it was just a moment of improv on a scripted show, and it almost broke everybody. And then I saw a clip on Rob's last episode. Apparently, and I don't remember this, but Meathead and the daughter moved to L.A. at some point in the series, and so they had a moment between Rob's character and Archie where he said, "You've been like a father to me," and you see like genuine emotion on the set. I mean, I got like teary-eyed watching this scene. It was really, really awesome.
So if you look at the different movies, in my opinion, When Harry Met Sally,
Yep.
Spinal Tap, did he do? I can't remember. Did he do A Mighty Wind or some of those other ones?
No,
That's Christopher Guest.
That's Christopher Guest. Pardon
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
There's-
So,
There's a list if you want to look.
Here
would
I have
that I had my
I have one in front of me. So let me call out some titles. Stand by Me,
Stand by
Yeah.
Me,
which
yeah.
was huge. Spinal Tap, Misery, which I think is one of the best Stephen King adaptations. Few Good Men, which I haven't seen in a long time. I'm going to have to revisit that.
Yeah, you and me. Let's do that in the new year.
Right, revisit his movies. Of course, When Harry Met Sally, and I read an interesting tidbit about the movie that apparently it had a different ending, and he had met his wife
Oh yeah.
while filming the movie, and his relationship with her forced him to change the ending
Right.
of When Harry Met Sally, so
Yep.
that they end up, spoiler alert, getting together at the end. So that was kind of neat.
And it was his mom who said, "I'll have what she's having."
Oh,
that's
right.
It was his
Yep.
real mom.
Yeah.
Boy, that's one of the all-time great movie lines.
Yeah.
He also did The Bucket List, The Sure Thing, The American President, which I saw
That's a
in
good
theaters
one,
when it
too.
came out. That was a really good one.
Is that one with who's the lead?
Michael,
Is it Michael Douglas?
Douglas,
Yeah.
and Annette Bening.
That's pretty well
yeah.
done. I really liked that.
That was the leftover of West Wing.
The Leftover.
I mean, or whatever. I'm sorry, West Wing was whatever American President, because he'd written a movie for American,
Oh.
and they were like, "This is a 600-page script. We can't do this, Aaron."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, okay. What can we do? Like, how about we make this movie, and then we'll turn the rest into a TV series."
I
Oh,
love there's a scene in American President that I love.
Say it. What?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't know Aaron Sorkin wrote that. I
Yeah.
just looked it up.
Yeah.
And he wrote A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. Wow.
So
Yeah.
they have a good. When you pair Reiner with A Few Good Men, you get
Yeah.
Wow.
Or
Yep.
Sorkin. Yeah, yeah. But no, there's a scene in American President where he stops the presidential limo to run into a florist, and his security team is like, "You can't do that," and he's like, "What are the odds someone would be in a flower shop hoping the president was going to pop in?" And I just love that scene. And then they cut to the woman working in the flower shop when the president of the United States runs in to grab a bouquet of flowers. Love that scene. Love that moment.
I'm gonna have to revisit that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't mind doing maybe a weekend for the next few months, just something from Rob Reiner. That's fantastic because it has kind of affected me too. So.
Yeah.
he carried those sentiments as an actor into his, like you were saying, when he became a director, he took those lessons and it showed in his movies.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he knew how to, from what I've heard and read, he knew, like you're talking about earlier with everyone on Princess Bride, he knew how to talk to actors. Whereas some directors get in there and, they're either one extreme or the other. They're too, like Kubrick, where they're too
Right.
overbearing.
Do 60 takes. Yeah.
Or they have their assistant, tell people what to do. It's like, come on, you gotta know your actors and work with them and be hands on.
Or the best one is when Tom Hanks was impersonating Clint Eastwood. He's like, Clint Eastwood was like, okay, go ahead. All right, that's enough of that. And then they just move on to the clip. Like, oh, I guess that's cut and action, huh?
Yeah. Now, you hire actors to do what they do well. Like, you don't want to micromanage an actor.
No.
It's like, what's your interpretation of this role? But go ahead, George.
Yeah. So a couple of things. If you go back and look at the fight scene or the if you look at the Princess Bride, the sword fight scene, it's pretty famous because they hired two of the top sword fencing teachers or stunt actors or whatever to teach Mandy Patinkin and Carrie Elways. And they worked for it for months.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in the other room and they were back and forth and so forth. And they came up with something that was absolutely fantastic. And so they said, all right, he said, show it to us. And so they said, okay. And so they showed it to them. And they'd been working for months and months. And he said, that's it?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, yeah. I mean, that's a lot to plan. And so they had to go back and he had to say, all right, we need something a little bit more fantastic. Because this is supposed to be, based on the book, the best sword fight ever.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty spectacular
It's up
considering
there, yeah.
neither of those guys are fencers or
Yeah.
fencing artists. And they start with their left hand.
Yeah, I know something you do not. I'm not left-handed.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not left-handed either.
I love
Yeah.
the way that scene goes. But then he brings in, there's a couple of things that are over the top. He brings in some stunt people, but 95% of it or something is, I love that story. The other thing is, you guys have no idea the impact, unless you play guitar. I play guitar. That Spinal Tap, if you were to go back in time and just pull the funding from Spinal Tap and say, guys, we're just not going to do that, and then come back to the future, I don't think Guitar Center would be in business. I don't think that half the bands that you know and love would either exist or would exist in a completely different way, because Spinal Tap was such an inspiration.
Yeah.
I have an amp at home that, and it seems like the stupidest joke in the world, and I don't think Rob Reiner ever thought of this, but it goes to 11.
Oh.
And if you haven't seen the movie,
Yeah.
you need to see that. But there are so many digs and so many fun things that if you're in any band, you know at least half or more of the movie because you've watched it a number of times. That was so funny. I feel terribly that Spinal Tap Part 2, The End Continues.
Yeah.
It never got very.
It kind of came and went. Yeah.
It played at Imagine. It was on the website. My wife and I went down there to see that, and they're like, "Oh, we pulled it." I'm like, "Why?"
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Because
Even it was on the website and they pulled it?
and they said because they had more than one showing, too many showings where nobody was there.
Wow.
And I hate to say it, it was like 30 years, 40 years too late.
There was
Yeah.
zero.
When my wife and I walked in, we were the only ones in, I think, or maybe two other people came, but it was empty. And that's too bad because I think that was kind of a raw deal. And that just barely came out not too long ago.
Yeah.
But I think that he has some really great movies, some great scenes, really thought through and full of
Yeah,
heart.
yeah.
Yes.
Everything full of heart.
You know, kind of a cool little story. This is Joe tooting his own horn again, but years ago I got to interview the Bangles, and during the interview with the
That's
Bangles,
so cool.
we were talking about their bassist. They initially had a bassist who came to a crossroads, decided she was going to leave the band, so they searched for a replacement bassist. Michael Steele came in as their bassist when they hit stardom, but then when they reunited years later, Michael Steele toured like during the House of Blues tour or whatever, but then she was like, look, I'm too old for this. I got kids and stuff. So she left and they had to replace the bassist. And so as we were talking about that, I said, you got sort of a Spinal Tap thing going with your bassist. And they busted out laughing. Well, I read their biography earlier this year, and they say that Spinal Tap is one of their biggest influences. They all love the movie Spinal Tap. And I'm like, I made a Spinal Tap reference during their interview, and it turns out that's one of their all-time favorite movies. So,
Cool.
yeah, so think
Nice.
about that Spinal Tap influenced the Bangles. And one thing I did want to say, talking about The Princess Bride, you know, had I ever gotten married, which never happened, but I already, but I had my song picked out, my wedding dance song, and that was the
Big
Mark
Bob's.
Knopfler song at the end of Princess Bride. My love is like a storybook story. That's plays during the credits at the end of Princess Bride. So that I always wanted that to be my song, and it never happened. But I love the song. I love the movie. So
Nice. Good
yeah,
reflection.
yeah. Any final thoughts before we move on?
I was just gonna say I've only seen it I think twice, and it's been a long time. But I need to rewatch it. I love Spinal Tap. I think it's got to be one of the first mockumentaries.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah.
And think about there would be no Wayne's World if this movie
I
wasn't.
agree.
You know.
I
Oh, yeah.
100% agree. Yeah.
And there's a couple other mockumentaries too that.
Well, you mentioned Christopher Guest. I mean,
Oh yeah,
with
all the
yeah.
Christopher Guest movies. And then coming from studying improv comedy, reading that they had somewhat of a script, but it was mostly improvised. Each scene,
Yeah.
they had a rough idea of where it was going, and they had to do A, B, C to get to D in
Mhm.
every scene. And they recorded like 100 hours worth of footage, and then they
Yeah.
had to go back through and see what worked. I love that, and that's got to be really
Yeah.
difficult for a director to wrangle these 3 or 4 other guys and be like,
Yeah.
okay. But when you have all those guys who in their 20s started doing sketch and improv,
Yeah.
like Harry Shearer and those guys,
Yeah.
it probably was the most fun to be on set with those guys.
Yeah. Like, would we have had Curb Your Enthusiasm if it wasn't for
Right.
Spinal Tap? Because Curb Your Enthusiasm is not scripted word for word.
Right.
It's like, here's what we're trying to get across on this scene. Do your thing. And so you have to imagine the impact that movie had on improv in movies along those lines that came afterward.
And to think of what you were saying, it's a shock rock mock doc.
There we go. Shock Rock Mock Doc.
So, yeah, and, I rattle off a bunch of movies. We don't have time to get into all of them, but Stand By Me.
We
and
could do an
Misery,
entire.
all that
We could
stuff, yeah.
literally do an entire thing on
Yeah, yeah.
Rob Reiner tonight.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So I wanted to acknowledge his passing and what a huge loss it is for movie lovers. Yeah, but it's a huge loss and unimaginable tragedy, and our thoughts are with his family and friends
Yeah.
who knew him.
Nice.
So originally we scheduled this podcast to take a look back at the year that was 2025. Now, coincidentally, or maybe not so coincidentally, but on my Facebook page, I was looking at my Facebook memories, which is a feature I really love on Facebook. And I saw one either today or yesterday that was posted maybe in 2018, 2019, where I said, oh, it's that time of the year where I'm going to look back at my favorite, year-end list. And I said in the post that I had seen like 20-plus movies in 2018, 2019. That doesn't happen anymore. Since COVID, the number of movies I see in the theater on an annual basis are 5, 6, 7. And it breaks my heart because no one loves going to the theater more than I do. And it's just not really a thing anymore. And it's kind of dying out with crowd behavior and lack of choices and there's a lot of factors of why I don't go to the theater anymore. I mean, it has to be an event film for me to get off my butt, buy a ticket, go into the theater, get the pop and popcorn, pay $40 for a ticket and pop and popcorn, and then have to deal with those idiots sitting around me with their phones and talking. I mean, last couple of movies I saw in the theater was annoying as hell. People talking out loud, having conversations, holding their phone up above eye level, and texting back. Saw a woman texting back. So I don't see movies as often in theaters anymore. So this past year, in 2025, I went to Box Office Mojo and kind of scrolled down their list, and I'm like, I saw that. 7 movies I saw this year. Only 7 movies. And I didn't even like all of them. So this isn't my favorite list. This is a list of everything I saw in 2025.
All
For
7
those
of
of
them?
What's that?
All 7 of them?
Yeah, all 7.
Oh, jeez.
That's in a way, if anyone is familiar with the show history, Joe usually has multiple pages of show notes.
That's true.
This is a single page, one side.
Right.
It's done.
Which means the 3 of us are going to actually have to contribute something.
And
You guys are going to do the heavy lifting.
And I was like, oh, crap, I was supposed to write coattails tonight.
Now, number 1 on my list, I chose because it gets away from the trend, and we talk about it on this podcast repeatedly, the sequels, the prequels, the reboots, the remakes. I'm just starving for original movies with original stories that don't have actors that have been featured in multiple episodes before. And so the one movie that jumps out to me that was the most original movie of the year, maybe the most original movie of the past few years, was One Battle After Another.
Yes.
Released on September 26th here in the U.S., written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yes.
Starring Leo DiCaprio in a fun role. Sean Penn in a quite possible Oscar-winning role. I'm going to go on to DraftKings and see if they're going to allow us to bet on the Oscars.
You can.
I'm putting my money on Sean
Kelsey.
Penn. Yeah, Sean Penn is going to win the Best Supporting Actor.
Bold
Oscar.
claim, sir. Robert's not here to defend it, but
Followed by a close second of Benicio del Toro.
But Benicio del Toro, I want to see a spin-off
Yes,
of his character. I absolutely loved his character. Regina Hall, Tiana Taylor, Chase Infinity. It was probably the most fun I had in the theater because it started off like, I don't know where this is going. I thought it was going to be like some liberal, preachy film, and I was rolling my eyes like, oh, geez. And I'm liberal. But then you realize, okay, it's tricking you that it's going one way, and then it goes in another way. And I was riveted, just riveted for the entire film. And it kind of did cool things with various genres, like the car chase genre.
Yeah.
This movie, which is not a car chase movie, did things that I've never seen before in a car chase movie. And I love my car chase movies.
yeah.
The way it was shot, it was so stylish and just so much fun and great twists and turns. And so it earned, this kind of surprised me. It only earned $202 million on a budget that some claim ranged between $130 million and $175 million. So it didn't turn a huge profit. And some might call it a box office disaster, which ticks me off. Because if you're listening to this podcast, if you're complaining that all there is prequels and sequels and reboots and remakes, and you didn't go see this movie, screw you.
You're part of the problem.
Shut your mouth. Shut your cake hole. You
And I'm
need
over here
to-
in the corner going, "Ooh, sorry, I haven't seen it yet. I wanted to see it with my son who's coming home for Christmas."
I was
So
gonna say it starts on HBO Max on Friday.
So
you
there
guys
go.
are welcome to come over
You
if
can
you
watch
want.
it in the comfort of your home.
George, I guarantee you will love it.
Oh, is that right?
It
Okay,
is
good.
so good.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Good.
I don't often play devil's advocate. I don't think I'm going to do it right now. But regarding people not showing up to see it, people are not going to theaters in general, and then when they do go there, it's almost like they're going for the event stuff, like the Marvel and all that stuff. So
Sure.
what happens? They go there, they blow their money on that, and then they're not going to go. And the reason I say that is because it used to, theater prices are just AMC just did a massive increase. I think in the last month and a half. It's something astronomical.
Yeah.
I think someone on TikTok posted that they paid almost $75 for an outing.
Oh, wow.
For like 2 tickets and then concessions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For what?
And this is for
To go see a movie. Like, if you want to take a family to see a movie, that's like going to a sporting event.
But that's
Yeah,
that's in
I-
South Carolina, so it's not like it's high cost of living.
Right.
And I know, and anyone from South Carolina, don't get angry. You know what you are. You're not New York. You're not Chicago. You're not LA. So, and even there, $75 is obscene. So for South Carolina, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
That's why I like going to theaters. Like, and I'm going to give them a little plug. The Oxford 7, that's just north of us. You can go in there, get a ticket for a reasonable price, especially a matinee. I like doing matinees, and concessions are fairly reasonable. So
yeah, they're not bad compared to the mall.
yeah.
Right.
So if you go to a theater that only has a few screens, you should be able to bring your family and have a nice night
Because
out.
I looked at the box office mojo too, just kind of like what you did, Joe. And I was kind of scrolling to see what have I done, and I'm actually doubled you. I'm at about 15 out of the top 40 I've seen in theaters.
Yeah.
And again, not all of them were good. In fact, most of them were not. And
Yeah.
that's also, but fortunately, we have like those Fandango rewards points and AMC, so you don't go see it on opening night, but you do go to the theater to go watch it. So it's not like I spent $1,000 to go see all these movies.
Right.
But for people that don't, and then when they do go, that's it. When they go and see a movie, and it's pretty much they're hoping they're not right, but they're going to take their kids, so they're going to go see a Marvel movie. It then comes at the cost of, well, I just spent $80 or close to $100
Yeah.
getting Babysitter or not, whatever, to go see this movie. Then you get a movie that's worthy of going out to see, a truly original stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I'd love to, but I'll just wait for it to come out
Yeah.
on HBO Max or whatever streaming service.
That's the problem. Is I think people just are more patient. There's so many choices. There's so many other things going on that they can just sit back and say it's going to come out. And then when I saw Mission Impossible, the most recent one, in
Dead Reckoning. Yeah.
in the digital what's the jumbotron IMAX.
Yeah.
I saw that there, and Tom Cruise comes and he says, and it's a full. It's his face on it.
Yeah. He does
says,
a little intro at the
He
beginning.
does. He
yeah.
says, "I want to thank you for watching this movie. This is a very special movie because it was filmed for the format that you're watching it in."
Right,
I was
right.
like,
Yeah.
"Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that because golly gee, here I am." And I don't think it cost more than another couple bucks.
Right.
Man, it was worth it for me.
I agree.
But I wonder with AI and all the things that are coming down the pipeline, whether or not this isn't the end of the golden age of filmmaking.
It
in
is.
some ways.
I think we're living in a different era. I mean, there's always going to be your independent films and things like that.
Yeah.
The key to get independent films made is keep the budget low.
Yep.
Hope word of mouth turns a decent profit. That's the problem with this particular movie. They tossed a lot of money at this movie and barely turned a profit, despite 94% from critics on Rotten Tomato and 85% from the audience. So people like the movie. They just didn't go see it in the theater, which means it's going to be more and more unlikely that we're going to get new, unique, original stories if they can't turn a profit at the theater.
That hurts my feelings.
And I don't know what kind of numbers streaming is throwing at
And
these movies.
There it is. See, that's the what's that, for those people that posted on TikTok. Why am I paying $80 in South Carolina? It's now the chickens are coming to roost. Everyone wants to audit these numbers because the movie studios, the way their finances run. There are people that posted videos for the last 8 years. They rent their equipment. They do this. That's why they make their money on concessions. They don't actually make any money on the ticket sales because of the studios.
Yeah.
This all comes down to the studios because they'll say, "Oh, this one battle after another didn't make any money, so we're not going to supposed to produce it." No. You made money because you're going to make money when you license it to all the
Yeah.
streamers and to
Yeah.
all the television.
And to everybody else in the world.
And there was-
China's going to make a ton
Right.
of money.
But
Yeah.
you never disclose those numbers. So don't tell me that
No.
you didn't make money on the domestic box office. That's like saying, yeah, okay, that it's like watching the tip of the iceberg and then saying, "Oh, we didn't make any money." Yes, you did.
Yeah.
If you actually audit the money, they'll say that. And people are like, "You're right. It cost $150 million, but it only made this, so it's really not worth it with all the marketing." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
utter
kind of like the
bullshit.
producers, right? Where you feel like the movie The Producers, where it's a surprise, quote unquote, that it goes, come on, really? You didn't really think this through? But I will say this, and that is that we have a market economy. And at some point, things are going to have to get cheaper because if they continue to try and try and jack up the prices so high that families can't go.
Yeah.
People are just going to sit on their couch and be like, well, who cares? And they'll watch something as brilliant as that and fall asleep halfway through.
And
Or they won't-
3/4 of the time they'll be on this and look up every 30
Yeah,
seconds.
they're
That's
not
what drives me
engaged.
nuts.
Yeah.
When I say to my kids,
And
I have
they don't comprehend what happened.
Yeah, I'll watch a movie and I'll say, this is a movie that's really important to me. And the moment that there is a reflective moment, the moment there's 10 seconds, it's like what the heck are you doing?
That's why I like to go to the
Drives me nuts.
the theater to watch a movie, because I am forced to put this away.
Right.
Which is why
No,
it
no,
drives
no.
Joe nuts. 'cause
You're
it's somebody
forced to
else.
put it away.
Well, not everybody is, but,
You're a civilized human being.
if I watch something at home, I'm
phones in
going to
your
be
lap, yeah.
tempted. Oh, my sister's texting me. Oh, this. Oh, we're bombing Venezuela this week. No, I'm joking, but probably.
Yeah,
Joe.
not wrong.
What's happening?
Not wrong.
But that's what's important, to go see these things.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to compare it to church, but it's like you
You
go.
should have some
you
reverence.
should be paying
Yeah.
attention.
There's protocol.
Why pay
Yeah,
all that money
You're
to
paying
do
money.
that?
You're
Yeah.
taking 2.5 hours minimum out of your day to do this.
I was
I
telling.
think that
I was just going to say, I was telling Nick before the podcast, I was sitting at home watching the movie Cinema Paradiso, and it's subtitled, and I caught myself glancing at my phone and then realizing that I'm missing the subtitle. So I'm like, okay, put the damn phone away. You have to be engaged. You have to have the eyes on the screen.
I think there's another level here that's kind of interesting, and that is that if you go back, I started showing my kids things that I thought were pretty interesting and fun. So I showed my daughter Sabrina. She pooped out, the original one with
Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey
Yeah,
Bogart and
Is it Audrey Hepburn?
Audrey Hepburn
Hepburn.
and
William Holden.
William
I
Holden.
believe.
Yeah, thank you. God, great guys. Good
Yeah.
job. And about halfway through, she fell asleep. So we tried
Yeah.
watching it again. She fell asleep again. That was painful. I showed my kids a couple of years ago My Fair Lady, and they pooped out halfway through.
Yeah.
I showed them Camelot, the musical
Richard Harris.
with Richard Harris, and I got about what was one of the sisters? What's her name? Redgraves. Anyway,
Okay.
I got about halfway through that, and I was bored. And then I started watching, what was it? Was it with Laurence Olivier? Was it Richard III? I can't remember what it is. And I got about 15 minutes into that, and I was bored out of my mind.
God forbid you
these-
show young people a black and white film. They can't get
I
past the
love
fact
black
that
and
it's
white
black and
films.
white. Yeah, but young people, they're like,
I
what
tried
is this?
I tried to show my daughter Gaslight. And that is a fantastic movie. I watched that a bunch of times, and people started to say gaslighting. I'm like, I think that comes for this movie. And sure enough, it does.
It does.
Yeah.
Yep.
But none of them are willing to watch it.
Yeah.
And so I think a movie that has wonderful, beautiful, sweeping scenes and time for reflection. We just watched It's a Wonderful Life again, which is such an amazing movie.
Yeah,
It's so
powerful
ridiculous.
stuff.
But there's a great scene where I had to tell my nieces and nephews, this is 4 days ago. I said, this next scene is fantastic. You just have to watch this. And it's Jimmy Stewart, and he doesn't ever say it, but he finds out that his brother has gotten married. And but the fact that his brother's gotten married, his brother's not going to come back to Bedford Falls to take over the savings and
Oh,
loan.
right. So he has to give up his
And
plans,
so
yeah.
you have to watch very closely, but he's smiling as he finds out his brother's got a new wife. And then he figures out he gets the shaft again.
Yeah.
And it's this look on his face like, I got to get out of this town.
Yeah.
And then he kind of comports himself and he walks over and he tells her, hey, how big of a deal is this job that your father's offering my brother? And she said, it's a pretty big deal and it's perfect for him. It's research. And he doesn't say anything to his brother.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It's frustrating when you show somebody a movie for the
And
first
they
time
missed
and
it.
you look at them for their reactions and they're looking at their phone.
And they missed
I
it.
hate
And
that.
I'm sitting there going, oh, why? Are you,
Yeah.
This is terrible. So I think that the way people make movies these days is going to have to change. Is going to change because of and it's sad because
Yeah.
it's going to lose some of that reflective.
They miss key things. Joe and I were talking about this. There's an actor, I forgot her last name, but her first name is Jamila. She was on a Good Place. She's the Indian lady on A Good Place.
She's so great.
Yes,
Yep.
and so she made a good point. She was on a different podcast and being interviewed in England, I think, and she said she she's spoken to writers who received notes from executives saying you need to simplify the story because most of the TV audience is always looking at their phone, and they need to be able to follow the story after they look at their phone and look up and be able to catch on to it.
Yeah.
They
Oh
can.
my god!
There's already like
Dumbing it down.
There's already an algorithm to it, and anybody that wants to sell anything to streaming, they have to follow this formula now.
Because if they look down and then they're playing and they look back, like they can't say, "Oh wait, what happened?" No, because then they actually might have to rewind and watch it again.
Yeah.
And nobody wants that experience. They should be able to look up and be like, "Oh yeah, I know what's happening. Okay, cool, I can pick up from right here."
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping she's
the
wrong.
society,
I'm
yeah.
hoping that's BS, but it
No,
there's a
I
tinge
think
of-
it's. ugh.
it feels like there's a tinge of truth
It
to
is.
that.
It's true.
So the bottom line is support these movies, these original creative stories. If you want to see original content, you got to support
True.
them. You got to see them.
That's true.
Right.
I will say one thing though regarding the attention span, and this might I don't know how much of this is anecdotal because we don't have exact numbers on it, but you see a lot of younger people who have these reaction videos, and they'll watch an entire 1 hour episode, whether it's Welcome to Derry, or they'll watch Lord of the Rings. They'll watch some of them say, "I kept hearing from my granddad about Jaws, so we're finally going to watch it." And they'll record themselves watching it, but it's not because just they want to get views, likes. So there's an incentive based for them to.
Yeah.
Actually, pay attention.
Right. So it's not just because, and then if it happens to be a great movie, oh my God, that movie is actually kind of good. And
Yeah.
and you go, yes, it was. I don't know if I should be happy or should hit you with the shoe.
I think, and I don't know how many years this is going to take, but I think the pendulum will swing back the other way, maybe 15 years from now, when young people are like, I'm just so burnt out on just flipping
Good
through,
point. I'm hoping
flipping
that
through
you get-
TikTok and everything. It's kind of like how vinyl has made a comeback in the last
Right.
10 years or whatever.
Oh, great idea.
So, because a lot of young people are like, well, we just flip through our phones and listen to music, but I have something tangible. I have this liner that I can fold out and look at.
Yeah.
So I think the pendulum might swing back, or at least I hope it does.
Bless,
Yeah.
bless you, Andrew.
That people
Bless you.
will enjoy a good, rich,
Yeah.
2.5 hour movie that has.
Real
I think
character
I think
development.
it's starting to happen. I see young people, you ask them what their favorite movie is. Like, we do a kids camp here at Owen TV, and I asked this one kid, what's your favorite movie? And he says, The Blues Brothers. This is a kid that's in 5th grade. And I've talked to young people who say Jaws, and I'm like, see, I think that pendulum is swinging where they're
Sure.
discovering these movies and going, these are pretty great movies.
God, you two guys are such awesome rays of sunshine right now. I love it. The only reason I say this is because right now they're not
Nick's
wrong.
about to rain on your parade, by the way.
No, that's because I'm being rained on right now. And I completely agree with what Joe and Andrew are saying. I 100% agree. It's just that right now they're both saying it on September 1st, 1929. And that's why it's kind of hard to feel it. You're like, I agree with both of you. It's really tough to see right now. There's a lot of bodies falling out of buildings right now.
Mm. All right, let's get back on track.
Yeah. Excellent, guys. I thought that was great. So,
Yeah,
that was
we're
good.
a bunch
Thanks
of
for
old
letting us
codgers.
Going down
When
that
I
rabbit
was
hole.
young.
Yeah.
So, my next on my list of my favorite movies from this past year, I'm almost embarrassed to admit it's a superhero film, but I really enjoyed it, and that's The Fantastic Four: First Steps, released on July in the U.S. The date on my notes says July 35th. That can't be right.
25th. It was
25th.
the day after my birthday because
there you go.
I went with you two, and you guys took me to Chili's afterwards.
That's right.
I bet we can convince people that July 31st exists.
Yeah, right.
July 31st does exist.
Wait, 30?
Oh, 35th.
But yeah.
Sorry.
Starring Pedro Pascal, who is like the flavor of the month right now.
He was in
He's
3 movies
everything.
simultaneously
Yeah.
this year.
Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things, and I had to practice as Iman Backrack
Yeah.
as the Thing. Excuse me. Big hit, earned $522 million on a $200 million budget. 86% from critics, 90% from audience on Rotten Tomatoes. This is the 5th Fantastic Four, including the unreleased 1994 version.
The unreleased 1990. Well, that's another Oprah.
Yeah. No, didn't like Sony or whatever make the movie because they had to honor some obligation that they had, but they never released it. But they had to make it so they can keep the rights to the characters. But
Sony officially made everyone associated with that movie be with Hoffa.
yeah.
Lovely.
So, when they announced it, I kind of rolled my eyes. I'm like, oh, great, another reboot, another remake, blah, 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 blah. But then when I started seeing images from the film and the trailer, I liked the visual style that it had. And I'm like, man, I can't place this. Is it in the 60s, the 50s, the future? I don't know what's going on here. And then right out of the gate, they're like, oh, this is an alternate reality. And I was like, oh, that explains it. And so, I kind of went in with my arms folded like, me, entertain me. And I was entertained. I really enjoyed the film. I love the color palette. I love the effects. I love the look, the style, and everything. So that turned out to be a pleasant surprise, and I really enjoyed the Fantastic Four.
We're like the worst versions of Waldorf and Statler. We love movies. We go in there. You have to entertain me. And then we go with such shit attitudes.
Are
but
you
that's what
not
it is.
entertained?
And then they're like, "Oh my God, they actually entertain me." I'm like, "Bless you, sir. Bless you."
Now that's my attitude going into
Well,
movies
it's
now.
getting tougher and tougher to come up with. The new Superman. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great.
I agree. Yeah.
I thought it was cool, but maybe the second one will do better or something. But I think there was just too many questions unanswered. But I think the world now that for the last 20 years we've relied very heavily since we've found that we could actually do things that were convincing back 1999 2000, and all of a sudden CGI or whatever is amazing and it's letting us do all these things. I think people are getting. I'm getting burned out on superheroes. I
am too.
Mhm.
I guess that's why I felt that
Maybe you
Fantastic
went
Four
in
was a
with your-
pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah. There were other. I mean, if you guys want to just talk about these superhero movies in a bunch, Thunderbolts I thought was okay.
okay. Yeah, it was
Superman I
okay.
thought was okay.
Okay.
I never bothered to see Brave New World. What was the one with the Red Hulk? Was that
Brave New
Brave
that
New
was
World.
Brave New World? I just had zero interest in seeing that movie, and from what I heard, it's pert near terrible, is what I've heard.
I started
It
watching
wasn't memorable.
the first 45 minutes of it on Disney Plus, and it wasn't great. Yeah, but no,
Yeah.
I agree with you on all those. I saw Superman and Thunderbolts in the theater. I liked them; they were enjoyable. I'm glad I saw them in
Yeah,
the
I
theater.
didn't dislike them. I just
they're
thought they
wrong
didn't
with
bring
them.
anything new to the game.
Yeah.
But Fantastic Four was definitely the best out of
Yeah.
the superhero movies. It felt kind of fresh. The acting was decent. I love the aesthetics of it. Like you said, the alternate 1960s.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, yeah. And then the storyline too of the, don't tick off a mom. She's going to do everything she can to protect her
Sure.
baby. And I like that storyline. I like that vibe,
For me, it's all about the
rest of them.
story. Some of the
Yeah.
story. I mean, look, I when we start talking about like the technical aspects of these superhero movies, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because story wise, they're all meh, and you didn't pay X amount of dollars to go see meh because that money you paid for meh
Yeah.
cost one battle after another.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Now, as far as Superman goes, I like the actor David Cornswet. I thought he did a fine job. He's very likable, but I felt the movie got a little too cluttered with obscure superheroes. And I'm like, who's this guy? I didn't care for the fact that it was an ensemble movie. It's like it's a Superman movie. It should be Superman, but it was an ensemble cast, and I didn't really think we needed that right now.
But that's James Gunn for you. That's
Right.
that's him.
His peacemaker mentality, Suicide Squad mentality. He brought that to Superman, which I don't think is a good fit.
And I recently had a conversation about this, and I'm just kind of curious. There are writers who go in there is thinking, my goal is to write an prestige art house flick that's going to get me, an award season. But in the meantime, I'll pay my dues and write this schlock. And they treat it like schlock, and they treat the audience like schlock. I'm like, you don't want to do that.
Excellent insight.
Because you look at Deadpool versus Wolverine. And I asked someone. I've talked to a few people. I'm like, Deadpool versus Wolverine. You want to see a fight? Cool, that's great. But there are no stakes in it because neither one can kill each other.
Right.
Because so when they had that first fight in that other dimension, blah blah, blah, and they were like, it was just venting. Then after that, they had another fight and then another big fight, and you're going, guys, neither one of you can die, so I don't care.
Yeah.
You're just having a fight scene with 80s music because you think it's nostalgic, and there's no stakes to it.
That's disrespectful to the audience. It looks cool. It checks all the boxes except for one, and that is it's very shallow and it's cutesy and everything else. But and I love both of the act. I love Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. But is it Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
But it disrespects like the first time I saw Superman when I was a kid, and the little boy pushes up the station wagon or whatever, to save and his parents looked at him like whatever. That was a huge moment for me.
Oh yeah.
It was not something where something blew up or whatever. It was something simple.
Yeah.
And their reactions like, I think our boy's different.
Yes. I mean, that was enormous to me, and it was sweet and it was fun.
Kid was grinning ear to ear like, "Hi, Dad." I'm like,
exactly.
Good job, kiddo. Put it down.
Well, that's one of the problems with the character of Superman is his invincibility, and that he's never threatened or whatever. And that's what was kind of interesting about this new James Gunn movie is he took it to the other extreme where he recognized the fact that people resented Superman because there were no stakes, like you said. That's why the writers invented kryptonite to kind of give him a weakness and a vulnerability.
Sure.
But James Gunn took it to the other extreme where Superman got his ass kicked for 2 hours in this movie. And I'm like, okay, man, enough.
And the thing was, when he was getting his ass kicked, like, let me guess, clone. Because there's only a handful of people that can do that to him. And I'm like,
yeah, who is this character that's able to do that? And it wasn't much of a surprise.
You know what? I forgot almost that happened.
Yeah,
that movie, my brain washed that movie off the dashboard like in 1950s.
And Superman's not supposed. This Superman won't kill. It won't be as serious like the Snyder version. All that stuff. That's fine. But then they go into that alternate universe. I'm like, yo, all those people are going to that black hole. You know what happens, right? I'm not a physicist, but I don't think that's a good thing.
Such a weird side thing. Like, it's so like, really, do we have to do that? And I didn't fall in love with the characters. It was just they're there, they do this. I honestly don't remember 90% of the movie except for now that you're bringing them like, I guess there was that split thing.
And it's going to eat up.
I think they stole that from Lego.
Sure.
Legos. In fact, my daughter sat there. We paid good money to see the movie, and she goes, literally, that movie was Lego Batman. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. So if you guys need to reference something that's actually a pretty good movie.
It's you bring up such a great point for people who love movies. My 100 favorite movie list are movies that when I went in the theater, sat down and watched for the first time, added a puzzle piece to me, like contributed to my fabric, made me who I am today. And you think about these movies and they affect you deeply. And here you are talking about a movie, you're like, almost immediately after I saw it, I don't remember anything about it. That is one of the problems with filmmaking today. Where are these movies that change me, that alter my DNA? And
they have a lasting impression.
Yeah, I keep bringing up this movie that I saw a week or two ago called Cinema Paradiso. And a friend of mine said, you haven't seen it? You got to see this. This is right up your alley. You're going to love this movie. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And it came out, I think, in the early 90s or something.
Yeah.
And I sat down and watched it, and there was another puzzle piece that got added to my makeup. It had such a huge impact on me. I'm like, how have I missed this movie? How did I not see this movie?
Especially as a film lover.
One viewing. It wasn't like repeated viewings.
Right.
After one viewing,
it
changed me who I am. It changed my fabric, and that's what we need in the theater.
Joe's got me to add it to my list, so I'm like, I got to see this.
Yeah, it'll blow you away. And it's one. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I just will say that's one of the greatest endings I've ever seen in the history of film.
It's so cool.
So give us these movies that don't disappear from your brain immediately. Like I know we're getting a little off track here, but I remember stepping out of the theater after seeing The Matrix for the first time and looking at the world in a completely different way. I was like touching things like, wow, I almost saw like the green code as I'm walking around. That movie changed my DNA. I looked at the world differently after seeing The Matrix.
And you didn't need Jack or Coke. That was a beautiful
At least this time.
So I'm glad you made that point about so many of these movies.
Well, I know that there's some filmmakers that are passionate about the storyline. They're passionate about the audience experience. They're passionate about the journey, the mental journey that starts at the beginning. Here's what we want them to see. Here's what's unique. Here's what's fresh. And if you have two guys beating the crap out of each other, okay, great, cool. The trailer's gonna look great. You're gonna have some cutesy little things here. But it's kind of the way I feel about Stranger Things. I loved the first season.
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic. The second season was still pretty cool. Third season, was that the one with the rats? I don't know. After that, it was just, let's milk what we can out of people.
Yeah.
And how do we reopen the universe and say that they're going to, this is one last time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's. I love the title of the Spinal Tap. The end, the
What's
final
the
ending
ti-
continues
Yeah.
or whatever. It's kind of that same feeling.
Yeah, the last tour again.
Yeah, exactly. The last tour again. But I think that there's a lot of movies that are coming out now that don't have that we talked about at the beginning, that Rob Reiner heart, where you're really making something special. Oh my gosh, somebody gave you, how much was the budget? Did you say $150 million for one battle after
I think
another?
120, something like that.
200.
That's how
It
much it
earned
made.
200 million on a $175
And
million
I-
budget.
Is that including marketing?
I was gonna say,
Well,
I just read to break even, it would have had to make 300.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's
Not even close to breaking even.
Yeah.
So how is that getting disrespected? How is that not translating? How is something like Deadpool or whatever Part 3?
Yeah.
How is that getting above the other ones? How is Hollywood disrespecting the honest efforts of something that's unique and wonderful?
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
understand that.
I don't know if it's Hollywood so much as the audience. Like, the
Right.
audience isn't
You think it's the
supporting
audience,
these
the fr-
movies.
okay.
And so the Hollywood is then going to say, look, this we gave this movie a chance and it tanked. We're not going to take that risk again. So
Yeah.
It comes down to that question: does Hollywood set the agenda, or do they cater to the audience? Like, hey, look, they like poop movies, so we're going to make a bunch of poop movies. I mean, they had an emoji.
Oh,
with the
that's a really good
So-
point.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
do
the
you
emoji
do you
movie.
pander and
Yeah.
do whatever the audience tells you to do?
They do.
I guess so, because
Because
they're
they're
going
mar-
to stand
that's
in
who's
line.
because
buying
their
the ticket.
market
Yeah.
research says that horror's out and comedy's in.
yeah.
You know, we've seen
Got your marching orders. Go.
I've taken the family to see things, and we'll walk out, and they'll say, "I thought that was a lousy movie," and I'll say, "I thought that was fantastic." They say, Why did you think that was fantastic? I said, "Because even though I'm not going to probably ever see that again, it took chances.
Yeah, yeah.
It didn't pander to the, like what you were talking about, to the audience." I love the fact that some
Yeah.
directors will take chances, and sometimes they work, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes the chances they take are lousy, lazy, stupid, ill-conceived. And other times they'll take a genuine chance, and I'm like, thank you
Yeah.
for this. It's the Jaws. Like, you're gonna create what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Star Wars, or Raiders, or any of my favorites. Those are all things that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's a dystopic rumor going out there for how movie theaters can get back in the good graces and help. They would turn basically every theater, every screening into market research. Basically, when you sit in the chair, it'll measure your, and it'll capture your eyeballs. Like,
Yeah,
how
right.
often do you look up and down? And then they'll say, okay, these are the movies that audiences this is what they were looking at. They're like,
Clockwork
"Oh."
Orange.
Yeah.
I mean, even God forbid if they can actually register your heart rate, because when you sit
Yeah.
in those chairs, if it can measure your body, and I mean, people sell their data. I mean, look, we were talking about people taking craps in boxes and mailing it
Yeah.
off camera. You know,
All I know is that my heart rate would go up if it were Sydney Sweeney, and in certain
Yeah, right.
dresses, I would be like, I don't think I want this to get back to the
but they might actually do that. They're like, when she was on, all the males' heart rates went up, and then certain females went like this, and everyone
know-
really loved Tom. Tom.
Yeah.
Parents were like moving their children out of the theater. I wonder what that means.
I mean, but I was like, to pay every theater to put those sensors or extra, then to give this footage back and sell this footage back to
Right.
whoever.
You know what I think is probably the most powerful group of moviegoers today are teenage girls. And the reason I say that is if they go see a movie like Titanic with the heartthrob Leo DiCaprio in it, they'll go see that movie 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
they'll
10 times.
Post about it. They'll do
yeah.
TikTok about it, which is free advertising
They
for the
are a
movie.
powerful group.
Yeah.
Now, will they go see a movie like One Battle? Maybe not. They'll, I mean, I don't want
If you
to
made
sound sexist here, but they support a movie like Twilight
Sure.
over something, that I might like.
If you did a shot-for-shot remake of Titanic with Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler, just read
See, that's what's going to come of your little marketing
And,
scheme
and
there.
who would play Kate Winslet's part?
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney. Fine, might
Okay,
as well.
thank you.
Whatever will help
I'd
you,
actually
George
want to
is
see
in.
that. I'm there.
whatever will help you float in the water. You know?
Those aren't
Absolutely.
buoys.
Yeah.
I forget what that's a reference from, but
Just add one more B in there.
And it's just like, would that happen? I mean, you just you're like, oh my god, and people are like, I love this movie so much, it really spoke to me. Like, sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of teenage girls, let's talk about another movie that just recently came out, Wicked for Good, part two of the Wicked movies, released on November 21st here in the U.S., directed by John M. Chu, starring Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, Jonathan Bailey, Michelle Yeoh, Jeff Goldblum. Great, great cast. At the time that I wrote my notes down, it had earned already $400 million on a $150 million budget. That's what Hollywood is looking at.
Wait, what was the marketing on that thing? Because they marketed the hell out of that movie
Well,
compared
that
to like
too,
one
yeah.
after another.
It probably was the same as the actual budget. It's
Say
probably,
that again. They what is it? Still? What are the
It
numbers? at this point?
earned $400 million on a $150 million budget,
That's
which is
because,
crazy because
yeah.
that's less. Well, that's right around what One Battle After Another made, so that's kind of crazy. Or that was the
Is that
budget.
worldwide or
of the-
domestic?
Same budget.
Well,
worldwide.
these numbers are worldwide. So the budget of One Battle was between 130 and 175 million. Wicked their budget is at 150 million. So that's kind of
they made
crazy
both
that
movies. They budgeted both movies
Well,
at the same
that's true.
time.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
think the overall
yeah.
when you parse it out, it was probably like 320, and then they gave like 150 here
Yeah,
and
yep.
175, whatever.
Now the critics gave it a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the teenage girls gave it a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Sure.
Compared to 88 and 95 for part one, which came out in 2024, and the total on the part one was $759 million. They included a couple of new songs. One of them I really enjoyed, called "No Place Like Home," which had nods to the original Wizard of Oz, and they added another song called "The Girl in the Bubble," which is what's her name, Ariana Grande's character. Now here's my gripe: Part one ran 2 hours and 40 minutes. Part two ran 2 hours and 17 minutes for a grand total of almost 5 hours.
Wow.
Can we show some restraint, Hollywood? Did Wicked need to be stretched out into a 5-hour film?
I have to
Apparently so.
I have to
look at the
recuse myself.
numbers.
Come on, man.
I have to recuse myself. Come on, I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. I can't say anything.
I do too.
can't
I watch
Now,
the
wait a second.
extra extended. I love every bit of it.
I will
hate to
I will
say
get Daily Showed right now. They'll play a clip of me like, oh, I'm gonna bitch about Wicked, and then I'm like, I love Lord of the Rings. 21 hours.
Here's what I'm going to say to that. Here's my response to that. Wicked, you can't compare Wicked to Lord of the Rings. What I compare Wicked to is The Hobbit, which took one story and stretched it into 3 movies, where Wicked took one Broadway musical, and I guess you can argue a book, even though the book is completely different.
completely
In
And
Peter's
stretch that into a
in
5-hour
Peter's
movie.
defense, he meant for 2 movies, which was fine. And then Warner Brothers said, "No, you will make 3." He's like, "You want me to make 3? Yeah, here's hundreds of millions. Do it."
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm glad he did. Thank you very much. I do. I like all
Yeah.
3 of them.
And he was like, "Okay, I'll do it. What do you want to do? Let's just write something."
I love the universe. I love
Yeah.
The Hobbit wasn't as good as Lord of the Rings, but I
Right.
still loved it. I
Right.
thought it was
I
great.
had no interest in the movie. Now, here's my review of Wicked. I enjoyed it, maybe more than the first one, because it had a direct connection to Wizard of Oz. But that's kind of an appeal of the movie, but also a flaw of the movie, because it takes things that we saw in Wizard of Oz and takes a meat, what do you call one of those hammers, just like tries to fit it into a mold. Take some things that we saw in Wizard of Oz and apply it to the film, and you're like, okay, some of these things aren't lining up. So even though I appreciated the nods to Wizard of Oz, there's just some things that don't make sense. And I don't know if I'm afraid to talk about some specific things because I don't want to ruin it for anyone who
Sure.
hasn't seen it. But like, the movie implies that there's kind of a romantic interest between the character played by, what's his name? But where am I? Jonathan Bailey and Cynthia Erivo's witch. Now, things happen in The Wizard of Oz. You're like, I'm not seeing a romantic interest between these 2 characters. So they had to kind of bend things. And I get a little angry. I've seen people online go, having seen the Wicked movies, I see Wizard of Oz in a whole new light. And I'm like, don't you say that. You shut your mouth, because they're two universes. They're two different universes. The things that happen in Wizard of Oz, even though they are referred to in Wicked, nah.
But
don't.
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Had the movie never come out, had the original movie never come out, and it just sat in some vault, and they finally made the Wicked version on Broadway,
Yeah.
and it got adapted into a movie, would it have been as popular? How much does Wicked the movie series?
Just taking the Wizard of Oz idea or the part of the universe and redoing it. How much? Go on. Yeah, I'm following along.
So how much does it? I don't know if there's any way to calculate it, but so had they just said, someone said, "Oh man, what's
very
this
good
Wizard of the
point.
Oz? I'll just write a Broadway play on it, and I'll call it Wicked." I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
And I'll do whatever I want with it.
right.
And
Right.
I'll,
Because there's no-
it's like a buffet. I'll take what I want and I'll leave what I don't want, and leave the audience to kind of figure that out. Well, the audience loved it, probably mostly because of
And I'm making a
the
musical.
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it did not make any sense to me. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, but
In this timeline, if Judy Garland's version never existed,
Right.
it just sat there and someone read the books like, I really like it, but I think for 2025 it'll need to be a little bit different. I'll turn to this and I'll do this and I'll
Yeah.
do that. And
Now, one of the funnier lines I heard from
That's
a
weird.
comedian that said, Wicked is for people who watched The Wizard of Oz and said, well, where do they go to school, I wonder? Like, who thinks that? Like, who cares where they went to college? But,
no, I think they tried to throw the Harry Potter thing in there.
yeah.
well, okay, now I'm
Yes.
glad you brought this up because I'm a little embarrassed to admit this. When I saw Wicked, I'm like, oh, this is a Harry Potter ripoff. Then I did a little research and found out that Wicked, the book, came out before Harry Potter.
Oh, Wicked, the book?
Came out before the Harry Potter thing.
Did not know that.
So, if anything, you can accuse J.K. Rowling of stealing with Wicked if you want to incur her wrath.
Sure.
But so I thought the same thing. I'm like, I was a Harry Potter ripoff. It is not. It
Hmm.
actually the idea for the book in the musical came out before Harry Potter, which I thought was really
But
interesting.
that original question of, I wonder what the economy of the Lollipop Guild is. Like, no, I don't care. It's the Lollipop Guild.
What's their tax rate?
When do they find time to choreograph these dances?
How do the tariffs work here?
All right, we got to move on. I can't believe we put this much time into Wicked as it is.
So I enjoyed it. Let's talk about my least favorite movie that I saw this year, where I sat there stewing in rage and like feeling my face
Oh,
get hot.
what's this?
Jurassic World Rebirth.
Oh.
I freaking hated it. It came out in the U.S. on July 2nd, 4th of July. Tentpole, the 7th entry in the Jurassic World franchise, starring Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali and a bunch of people I've never heard of before. It earned, and again, this is the symptom
damning.
of it
Yeah.
earned $869 million on a $200 million budget. It's a terrible movie, and it made almost $1 billion on it too. That's why Hollywood does this. That's why they put out these sequels and prequels and reboots and remakes, because people are spending money on this terrible, terrible movie.
But
Yes.
they make that money so that they can make a one battle after another and take a loss on that. You know,
I sure hope that's what's going on.
I
Yes.
mean, that's
I
the only
would
way I can.
love to live in that world.
Okay, but the problem is that it's an easy paycheck. And so you turn Alien or you turn Jurassic Park or you turn something that's a really cool franchise and you just say
And you water it down.
and you say it's like the history of the United States. We can go to war again because we were so great in World War II and now we can do whatever we want any place we want because we're the United States. I'm sorry, you can't. Anyway, that's getting a little political.
I mean,
But
No,
but literally, Jurassic Park, the first one, was so darn good. It's all these things that people are going, can we capture some of that magic? And so
And the
I go and I
answer is
sit,
no.
and you go and you sit, you bought your popcorn, you sat down, you paid the and you waited through all the trailers, which I never try to watch because I hate them because they really do too much damage. And then you sit there and you go, this is going to be a galactic piece of crap. What was I thinking? And everybody
Yeah.
else is giggling and everything, and you just feel like I've been shanghaied. I've been. This is terrible. I know exactly the
yeah,
feeling
Yeah.
you have, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Jurassic World Rebirth was basically the product of like regrettable, angry fornication between apathy and misery. Like that's just.
That's poetic. I want that on a T-shirt.
That's pretty good. Well, I do need that.
I mean, But and also going on what Andrew said, I agree with that overall sentiment. Sometimes they will make tentpole movies to fun because they even executives have some movies they want to make. No one's looking to take a bath on 150 million, man. If it's a $15 million movie,
That's true.
I agree.
Yeah.
When it comes to 150, they're not going to they don't want to take a bath on it. That's why they'll resort to that bullshit saying that this is why we don't make originals.
Yeah.
Look what happened.
Now, here's an interesting little tidbit. So I mentioned that Rebirth is the 7th entry in the Jurassic World franchise. It's gross $869 million. Of that list of 7 movies, where do you think it ranks? That tally ranks. It is 5th of 7. You are correct.
Wait. In terms of how much money it made, or
Yeah,
how
much money it made.
how about the reviews? Where does it fall?
Oh, on Rotten
50%.
Tomatoes, 50 and 70%. 50 from the critics, 70 from the audience. But that kind of blew my mind. That 869, even though you have to consider it a success because it made money, but on the overall franchise, it ranks near the bottom as
In the
far
lower
as
half, yeah.
yeah. And so, which movie do you think is the number 1 on that list?
It should
No.
be Jurassic Park, but it's not.
It's
It's
the first reboot with Chris Pratt.
Right.
That's the one I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Jurassic
Isn't that
World
3?
2015
What's the
leads the
fourth?
pack.
That's
Yeah.
what I meant. The fourth one.
$1.6 billion worldwide take
that was
for the
huge.
Chris Pratt version.
Yeah.
And I found it entertaining, but
I liked
it
it.
came
yeah.
the closest to the vibe of the original
Right.
movie.
Yes.
That's about it.
Yeah.
It was kind of like The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's a great comparison
Yeah.
right there. So I hated Rebirth.
I was just going to say, I haven't seen it. I might put it on at night if I have other stuff to do just to see, how it's made.
If you don't have your phone, you'll regret it. Have your phone.
I'll have my phone,
This
and
one,
my,
have your phone.
and my iPad at the same time. But I did have a little bit higher expectations for it because it was directed by the guy who did Rogue One, which
Oh, right.
Rogue One is fantastic.
everybody loves Rogue One.
Oh, sure.
That's my
It
third,
is.
fourth favorite.
Its
It's so
anniversary was
wonderful.
like today or yesterday.
Yeah, 10 years,
Yeah.
right?
And the
Yeah,
fact
yeah.
that they blew everybody up.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
They were kind of painted
they-
into a corner where they had to, but it was
They
brilliant.
took a
But I
big
wonder-
chance with it, a big swing.
But I wonder if that's what made it so good.
Right.
Like,
No, you're
we're
absolutely
never
right.
going to get anything out of this. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
amazing. I loved that.
So when I heard Gareth Edwards was directing this, I'm like, okay, Rogue One. He did the first Godzilla reboot in 2014 or whatever that was.
2014.
And I
The
thought
one
that
with
was
Jack Black.
that was
or-
no. Who was in that?
No, that was
Bryan Cranston.
Brian Cranston for like 20
Oh,
minutes.
that one.
Yeah.
And it was Aaron Johnson.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then I remembered that a guy named Tony Gilroy pretty much replaced Gareth Edwards for the rest of Rogue One. Sort of how like they fired the original guys for solo
Yeah.
and then brought in Ron Howard.
Edwards made a
So-
cameo in the movie
Yeah.
at the end. But
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I had higher expectations than how this Jurassic.
the Godzilla thing,
Turned out.
the Godzilla one thing hurts because he should know better. You don't film a movie in the dark at night and the
Yes.
monster turns off all the lights. I'm like, Gareth, I can't see the damn monsters. Half the movie
That's
is in
a-
dark, man.
That's a trend. Now, before we go around the table, I want to make one more comment. Up through about halfway through the year, when Robert Butler, our occasional guest critic, would ask me, "What's your favorite movie of the year so far?" I would say the second half of Mission Impossible. I found the first half of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning or Final Reckoning a snooze fest, but then Tom Cruise climbs on the outside of a biplane, and I was riveted. I was on the edge of my seat, going, "This is what movies is all about."
I kept thinking
loved-
it was CGI, but I'd been
No,
told
it was
in
all
advance it's not
practical
CGI.
stuff,
It's not
It's all
and
real.
it
And I
was
sat there-
thrilling. So that is one of my favorites of the year. Is the second half of Final.
I was
Reckoning.
concerned that it was turning into a snuff film. I was like, Tom, are you trying to die on air? Don't do
Yeah.
that, man.
The part
Yeah.
where he's running and it's just this unended, unclipped thing of him running. I'm like, Viagra and all the new stuff that's coming out to make men. I watched It's a Wonderful Life, and there's a part in there where Uncle Billy says, "I'm turning 55 and I can't blah blah blah," and he's got gray hair and everything. I'm like, I'm turning 55.
Yeah.
I'm exactly his age. I don't look anything like that or act like as stodgy or gray haired as he does.
Right.
And you've got Tom Cruise is 60 odd years old.
Yeah,
He's
he's-
And he's booking it down there, and he's He's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
nonstop go.
He
and
didn't need to do that. That's the point of that. That was the one.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's time.
I'm
Mission
sorry.
Impossible.
I think he did need to do that because there's real like the fight scene in the submarine. That looked like it. It reminded me of the two African American actors in Django Unchained when they're like literally just tearing into each other in front of
Leo.
Leonardo DiCaprio. I hated that scene and it was so great.
Like, and the one where
I felt like that was the same thing. It's just these two guys just muscling it out. It was awesome. To your point,
when he's hunting Henry Cavill in the mission in that Fallout movie, he's running on like buildings and on other stuff. This one was a straight run across the land. I'm like, Tom, you're part of MI. You can take a car. You're going in a straight line. This will be a lot faster if you
look. If it were a 25-year-old, I'd agree with you.
Yeah.
He's a 60-odd. The fact that all those joints work,
it's amazing,
and all those tendons and all those muscles come together to actually let him run. To me, it was a beautiful thing.
So you have to imagine in
gotta
the early
understand.
stages of making these last two movies. Imagine the production meeting. They got a cork board with little index cards, and they're like, "Okay, here are things we need to include in the movie." Someone was wearing a rubber mask. Someone has a voice changer. Here's some gadgetry. Blah blah blah. Oh, wait a second. We got to put Tom Cruise running down the street in there. Like it's mandatory that these movies have a scene of Tom Cruise running his ass off.
If nothing else, for the trailer, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
They forgot that they also was like, Tom, we have to have an ending to this movie. Like, oh yeah, we'll just kill the bad guy in the biplane. Like this guy was like the penultimate of all villains, and he was like, I'm in a biplane. I was like, someone told him we have to end this movie because I was looking at him like, if Tom survives this, you better win that fight.
There's a line in the movie where I almost laughed out loud in the theater when the villain said something about having an escape plan and then the backup plane. Like he mentioned it in a line of dialogue, and I'm like, oh, I wonder who's going to end up in that backup plane.
Oh yeah,
Like,
you can't introduce a gun without it going off in the third act. Exactly.
That's exactly right. So they set it up like because people would be like, "Where's that second plane?" Oh no, he mentioned it earlier. That explains it.
I mean, but at that point, he's done so much for the Mission Impossible franchise. If he wanted to Michael Bay it, he could have done that. He can be like, I have a plane. He could completely Michael Bay that. No, I'm like, where'd that plane come from? Don't ask.
Just enjoy them.
He's about to do something insanely crazy.
have
Just
fun.
enjoy it.
All right, let's go around the table real quick before
Oh,
we look
geez.
ahead to 2026. Imaginos Pete, what are some movies that, besides the ones we just talked about, when you look back on 2025, what will you think of?
I'll think of Sinners.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It had some issues, but I did enjoy Sinners. But beyond that, I didn't really like I said. I saw 15 movies, and out of all of them, there's Japanese game shows where guys get hit in the nuts. That's what it felt like going to the movies this year. Fortunately, I had Fandango, and I didn't pay the $20 price, but I kept going back for these nut hits. And when I should know better, because why would I go see Jurassic World Reborn when I can tell it's going to be a train wreck? But I saw it in theater. I'm part of that, but I was only $5 to that contribution, not the $20.
I wish I can recall. There's a female movie critic. I feel bad that I can't recall her name off the top of my head. But her review of some movie, I don't know if it was Dumb and Dumber or the sequel or whatever, but she said it's like taking a shot in the nuts and not in the good way, which I thought was hysterical coming from a female. That was her review of a movie. So hearing you say that, when you compare sitting in the theater watching a movie to taking a shot to the groin, that's pretty
And you know
low.
that going in, like you were, I'm like, you're going to entertain, and I hope you will. But for me, I'm like, don't hit me in the jewels. Don't hit me in the jewels. And it's like, flick, flick, flick. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
come on, guys.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
I would have felt angrier had I actually spent money on concessions.
Right. Well, at least you could enjoy the concessions and all that.
That actually supports
Extra
the movie
bonus.
theaters, tragically.
Right,
The
exactly.
concessions.
Yeah, yeah. Andrew, your thoughts? What movie jumps out at you?
He's got a list here. I'm impressed he hasn't jumped in
Andrew-
earlier.
I
His
screenshotted
homework
my
is there.
my letterboxed.
Oh, nice.
The 19 movies I saw this year, 16 of them in the theater.
Wow,
Number
that's
one
impressive.
was
He's holding. This is the guy who. Thank
He's
you.
saving-
Congratulations.
single-handedly
Saving
holding
the
The
industry.
stuff, we gave him so much shit all this time about not seeing these movies. He's basically outdone
He's binging. He's trying to catch up. I'm impressed.
He's
Good
like,
for
step
you.
aside, boys.
Joe and
Yeah.
myself and seeing movies in theaters. Both of us like, we love movie theaters. He's like, well, yeah, hold my beer.
Number one was One Battle After the Other.
Mhm.
Number two was Eddington with Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal,
Gotta see that.
directed by the guy who did Hereditary, Midsummer. The best horror movie was Weapons, in my opinion.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah,
until the end.
absolutely
Loved that.
Under the Radar movie with Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons called Begonia, directed by the guy who did where she won Best Actress 2 years ago.
It's not Tilda Swinton, is it?
No,
Nora?
No.
The Nora girl? Or
Poor
before?
Things.
Poor things.
Poor
Before-
Things.
Oh, before. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Emma
Emma Stone.
Emma
okay.
Stone. Oh, that's Emma Stone. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The two Stephen King films I saw, Life of Chuck, which is my number 5, another movie that should have been bigger, very positive, not your typical Stephen King.
No.
The other one was The Long Walk, well made, but the graphic headshots.
Yeah, it's a tough watch.
Frankenstein was excellent.
Yeah.
I'm glad I saw it in the theater because it's on Netflix now.
Now, I don't know if when we get into looking ahead to 2026, I read that there's going to be a Bride of Frankenstein movie. Is that connected to this
No,
Frankenstein?
no, that's
Two different things?
directed
Okay.
by Maggie Gyllenhaal. And it's going
Okay.
to have Christian Bale.
And
Yeah.
I was angry at Frankenstein because it was marketed to me as a good movie. It was marketed to me as a horror movie, and because it had Guillermo del Toro in it. And I saw it and I was like, "This is a drama. There's nothing worth it.
It's not really a. It's not really a
Kind of.
Frank. I haven't seen it yet.
It's not horror. It's drama. It's greatly
Did
acted.
you like it?
Oh, I was entertained, but
So you were okay with the hard right turn or what?
no, I mean Frankenstein in general is not really a horror
it's
movie.
not that great. Yeah,
it's-
exactly.
it was built on a drama premise, so I was okay with it. But just the way the trailers were crafted, I'm like, oh, are we going horror on this?
Uh,
Yeah.
a little indie movie called Sorry Baby, which was really, really good. The movie that will probably win Best Foreign Film was this Iranian movie called It Was Just an Accident that Robert and I saw at the Flint Institute of Arts.
Huh.
And then recently just came out on Netflix, Wake Up Dead Man, which is Knives Out 3.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Yeah.
Highly recommend it. It's just
Nice.
as good as the first two, in my opinion.
What's it called
Wow.
again?
Wake up, dead man.
Wake Up Dead.
So you got Craig, Daniel Craig,
Daniel
Yeah.
Craig.
doing a Foghorn Leghorn impersonation, which I
Ben
love.
Wahlberg.
And yeah, so I'm intrigued. I want to see it.
Sinners was good. The Wes Anderson movie with Benicio del Toro, The Phoenician Scheme,
Yes.
was really good.
I love the Phoenician
Yeah.
scheme. It's crazy,
It was
but
good.
it's not for everybody.
No.
That's
It's
Wes
a Wes-
Anderson.
it's
It's
a
Wes
Wes
Anderson.
Yeah. The Darren Aronofsky film, which is his first semi-comedy called Caught Stealing with Austin Butler.
Yeah.
Excellent movie. Did you see it?
Wow.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
I've got my work
All
for
right.
me.
I
Boy,
had
the tables have turned, haven't they?
They have.
We're all sitting there like, I need to see that.
a movie that I wish would have been higher on the list because of its predecessor, but this had some third act issues. Was 28 Years Later.
Okay.
And then the David Cronenberg movie of this year called The Shrouds.
It's okay.
Your typical David Cronenberg body horror
Yeah.
with people getting arms cut off and stuff. But that and everything else we had mentioned before. But it was a good year for original films, in my opinion. And like you were saying at the beginning of the episode, Joe, if your average person is saying, well, it's just sequels, prequels, IP, whatever. It's like, okay, but are you not certain? How does the saying go? There are things for those with eyes to see. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you search these things out,
They're out
there's
there, yeah.
there's tons of great films with $10 million budgets out there.
Yeah.
But they need marketing
But
behind them.
they
You're
gotta get
absolutely
they gotta
right.
get the word out on
Give
this.
me a reason to get off my butt and
Yeah.
go into
I
a
love
theater.
the fact that if you go to Netflix now, you can watch foreign movies that are overdubbed in English.
Good.
And we saw something I can't remember, but I turned it on for half a second. I wanted to hear what the original language sounded like. And it was beautiful, but I can't remember, but it's like Bulgarian or something like that. Something just way out of left field. And I thought, and then they had overdubbed it. It was a terrible job. It just sounded like two actors sitting right on a microphone, even though they were like 20 feet away from each other. The Foley was crap. Anyway, it was just terrible. But those
That's
are
what I love
coming
about
up.
this podcast. We're getting into Foley. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's sweet, yeah. But exactly, what do they call that? The kids call that the SM.
Oh, yeah. The what do you call that? I know
Is
what you're
it-
talking about.
ASMR.
ASMR.
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, what's interesting is we've seen now. I especially think with the Korean horror movie. Dang it, what's it called? Leeches, but not leeches. What's it called? One with Parasites. Yeah. Parasites was so good, and the one where I can't remember names, but the Spanish one, there's a Spanish series now it's all about these guys at bank heists. I can't remember the name of it. And then there's a Korean. You guys would know what I'm talking about. They go in, it's a bank heist, and there's multiple episodes, multiple seasons. There's the Korean one where everybody gets put into this game show kind of a thing.
Squid Game.
You've got the Korean stuff that's also coming out. What's it called? The
K-pop,
but there's a K-pop samurai thing.
It's a different podcast.
And that took off like a rock. That's taken off. So I do like the idea that we're getting other people that are spilling, other countries that are spilling into our country going, if you guys are going to be lazy, we're going to bring it because it cost us a lot more time and effort and energy to get this thing done, and we're going to bring something fresh. Mm-hmm. And I love that. Yeah. It's the same way I felt about Mad Max. It's like, where the heck did this come from?
The movie that comes to mind hearing you say this is the Godzilla -1.
Yes.
Like,
so good.
The U.S. like destroyed Godzilla. I mean, there are people who appreciate the movies, but then all of a sudden I'm sitting in the theater watching this movie going, this is different. Yeah. This is
I'm about like, the human character.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, it was the Jaws thing where you didn't see Jaws. Right. It was the threat, the specter of Godzilla, and all the chaos. And I appreciated the chaos. And then when the monster finally does show up, it's like, oh, that delivers because it's more of an emotional hit.
Gut punch, So I don't know if we're gonna be able to cover this in the last 10 minutes, and if I got to call an audible and go a little longer, we will. But before we look at 2026, any last titles you want to throw out, George?
No, you guys have done it all. Thanks.
All right. So let's talk about what you're looking forward to in 2026. I printed up a list of movies. I'm just going to kind of throw some titles out. Number one on this list from IMDb, apparently the movie most people are looking forward to is Avengers Doomsday. I'm not so sure if I'm excited based on some of the recent Marvel movies. One movie I'm very intrigued with is The Odyssey. It's going to be interesting to see a modern take on the classic story of the Odyssey.
Instead of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I love
that movie,
So good. I'm not a Dune guy, but apparently Dune Part 3 is coming out next year.
Sure.
New Spider-Man movie that...
Oh, wait a minute. Did you say another Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
Is it with Tom Holland?
Yeah. And apparently he's dealing with the repercussions of what happened in the previous film where nobody knows who he is, and he kind of wants to leave that behind him, but circumstances force him to dust off the costume.
Oh, so it's like Liam Neeson. He wanted to retire, but the mob told him one more time.
Every time I try to get out, they pull me back in.
Something about his family and revenge. Yeah.
One movie I'm not excited about because I didn't care for the last one, but we are now up to Toy Story 5 coming out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't care. I loved all the last one. The four.
It was a perfect trilogy. Shouldn't have messed with it. It's like painting a mustache on the Mona Lisa.
It did. It did fall off at 4. Yeah, and it was sad. I do agree.
I mean, because number 4 was like napalming your emotions after number 3.
I think we need a Monsters Inc. 3. Yeah. I do. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. There's a few things that we need. I need an
but they're bringing them back together, right? I think they're trying to
they're getting the band back together. Yeah. That's what I didn't like about 4 is why would Woody leave the group? But I digress.
I didn't like that part about that.
Right. Yeah.
You're right. Exactly right. Emotionally,
it was kind of creepy
terrible.
And weird with the ventriloquist puppet. One movie I'm really excited about, at least the 10-year-old in me is excited about, is the movie version of The Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm kind of excited about that.
But that excitement that you're speaking of is what tickled people to go see Jurassic World Reboot. All of us were younger in 1993 to go see Jurassic, and then I want to take my kids or my younger nephew to go see it.
Just to brag here, I wore this for you guys. I am
fantastic.
That's awesome. My kids got that for me. Isn't that fun?
The Mandalorian T-shirt for those of us that can't see.
What about Disclosure?
No, the Dadalorian.
So
Dandalorian. Oh, nice.
I'm surprised that's far down. So Disclosure Day is the next Steven Spielberg movie, which talks about aliens, and it's been talked about a lot lately. I think maybe the trailer had been released
came out,
recently.
Yeah, it just came out, yeah.
Spielberg's coming out with an alien movie?
Yeah.
Oh, this
We
should
all
be
got to go.
good.
We all
Yeah.
got to go.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
high up on my list.
Yes.
A Spielberg
Let's do.
event movie.
Let's all go.
Yeah.
Let's all do it. Joe?
I'm in.
All right.
Count me in.
You know, this means we have to sacrifice one of the bigger events. No Spider-Man.
Which I'm completely fine with.
I'm going over my list. The Adventures of Cliff Booth, which is a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's a Netflix release. 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I guess there's another sequel to that.
Sure.
Super Mario Galaxy movie,
Why
not
not?
on my radar. Clayface.
Yes.
Now,
Batman.
What? So, see, we've talked about this. I'm not a fan of movies that focus on the villain. I don't mind if there's a villain in a Batman movie and they do battle, but I'm not a fan of
You
the
must have-
Joker. I'm not a
You must have
fan
liked Heath
of
Ledger,
the
though.
Penguin. No. But what I'm saying is, I love Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I don't want to pay money to see a movie about a villain. I want to see a Batman movie take on a villain, but I don't want to see the Penguin's origin. I don't want.
You don't want to see them being the protagonist.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just
Although I will say, if you watch the Penguin series on HBO, that
It
actually
is so good.
they delved into that. Was
This is the cartoon one.
no. This is the live. This is where
This
Colin
is all
Farrell.
live
Farrell.
action
Colin Farrell
stuff.
plays the Penguin.
yeah, he's
Is
unrecognizable.
it really that good?
I
Yeah.
love
What's
it.
it? Fuck, I gotta add this to my.
It's movie level quality.
I
I'm
walked-
now Andrew, by the way.
Yeah. I walked-
What's it called again?
it's
the
just
Penguin.
Penguin.
I walked in
and
with
what's
such
it on?
HBO.
HBO.
Okay.
I walked in with such low expectations because why do I want to see the villain? I already saw him in the movie, but so they had an uphill battle, but they satisfied it. They did an excellent job of it. But
Here's my response.
Joe's rolling his eyes.
Yeah. So wait, but back to what you're saying. I did not like. I thought he did a phenomenal job, but I did not like Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker.
That's the
It was
Joker that I was
so-
referring to.
It was
I
so
didn't-
depressing and so down. And I thought of the Joker as somebody who comes up with witty criticisms, witty criticisms, or
Short-circuiting.
whatever. And I can't even say it well. Witty witticisms? Yeah, that's what it is. But
Witty
he's
criticisms.
witticisms. Anyway,
Oh, there you go.
he's really funny, and I really like the old. You can't iron it out of me. I love the guy who played the Joker in the 1960s versions.
Oh,
with
Cesar
Adam-
Romero.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cesar Romero.
Yeah.
He was great. He was such a smartass.
Yeah.
And he was always there saying, relatives and Batman and the boy blunder. And Robin's
And that
like,
laugh.
and it's just that laugh. I love
Yeah.
that because he was this wonderful thorn
Yeah.
in Batman's side.
But I
But
would
I
not
liked
want to
him.
watch a 90-minute movie about him. I like him as one of Batman's rogue gallery.
Why
but
is that? Tell me about your childhood.
I don't want to glorify the villain. I want the villain to pay his dues, to face consequences, to get locked up in Arkham Asylum. at
You
the
and
end.
I were brought up in a time when at the end of every Happy Days there was a lesson.
Yeah.
You had the bad guys had to go to jail. Everything had to be wrapped
That's
up.
the one thing I agree with the
100%.
Hays Code. The Hays Code, one of the rules was that the villain, the bad guy in the film, had to face consequences.
Yeah.
That's why I hated the movie, the Oscar winner, No Country for Old Men, where this awful
Chigurh's
villain
walks off into the distance.
in
I
the credits
hated that.
roll. I want to see the villain pay the price. So I
Yeah.
don't like standalone movies about the villain. I want to see them as a member of the Rogues Gallery in Batman's movie or whatever. All right, let's kind of wind things down. Imaginos Pete, number one movie you're looking forward to in 2026?
I would have to say I'm looking at Toy Story 5.
Really?
Just to make up for Toy Story 4. Because when
Let's
they
hope.
said they're bringing Buzz and Woody back, I'll do that. Disclosure, when I didn't know about it until I saw the trailer, so that's quickly rising up there.
Yeah.
So those two.
Andrew, most anticipated movie of 2026?
Probably Mandalorian.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And Clayface and Bone Temple.
George, number one anticipated movie of 2026?
As of 90 seconds ago, the new Spielberg Alien movie. Hell yeah, bring it on.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Great conversation. And
So good.
we'll talk more about movies
Happy
down
New
the
Year,
road.
everyone.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Hanukkah,
Yep.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Nick. Are you gonna watch The Grinch?
Forget the hard times, come to the movies and try to laugh your troubles away.